Learn how self-employment after working for the railroad will affect your railroad retirement. Welcome everyone to another edition of the Highball Advisors Railroad Retirement Whiteboard. My name is John McNamara of Highball Advisors, and today we're going to talk about you leave the railroad, and then what does the RRB think about the position that you're taking, how it's going to affect your current connection, and then even when you start your annuity, things that you can and can't do, because the Railroad Retirement Board wants to know about that. So we're just going to walk through some of these issues that you want to start thinking about, okay, after you've left the railroad. So non-railroad work and self-employment work are going to affect your annuity, all right? So, and specifically before retirement, think of it on a current connection basis, all right? And then after retirement, think about it from a work deduction basis, okay? So any non-railroad work after you leave the railroad, notify the Railroad Retirement Board to determine your current connection. So that's very, very important. Now, does everybody do that? No. It's very obvious. Hey, I've left the railroad. Maybe I've done 15 years. I'm going to go work for some other big company. You're going to sever your current connection. But if you're like, oh, I left the railroad and then I'm going to do some of my own consulting work. Can I keep my current connection? So if you always gray around that current connection, because it's a big deal, right? The survivor annuity. Always check with the Railroad Retirement Board to see if that current connection is in jeopardy or intact, right? Either way. So it's important, right? Earnings. So we'll go into some of the things that once you start the annuity, right? So earnings after the annuity beginning date will cause work deductions before your full retirement age, right? So if you're working in self-employment or non-railroad position, right, that's going to affect your railroad retirement worth of work deduction. Now, this is the big thing we want to talk about: self-employment, right? Claiming self-employment, the RRB determines if you're performing substantial services, and that's the big part here, right? Because it's important to remember, if you're working for the railroad and you're already at retirement age, you cannot collect railroad retirement, all right? Because they're saying you're still performing work in the railroad industry. So that word substantial services is very, very important, all right? So, self-employed as a consultant to a former railroad or non-railroad employer, then the RRB compares the work before and after. So once again, that concept of, hey, I'll leave the railroad, I'll go consult for a railroad, maybe my former railroad, maybe another railroad. That's technically railroad work. You're performing substantial services. So, there's ways to that people try to look around that, but you have to be very, very careful about that, because that could jeopardize your annuity. And if the Railroad Retirement Board has been paying out your annuity and they determine, oh no, you've been doing substantial services, they're going to look for that money back with possible penalties, and that could be a really big lump of money. So what you do is, okay, well, I've left the railroad, I'm going to go do consulting, right? You want to complete the form AA4 for self-employment and substantial services, all right? Let them make that determination on if that is a acceptable employment that is not connected to the railroad, all right? So that's very important. So there's two things that we're going on here today: is pre-railroad, pre-annuity, you're worried about the current connection, and then once you're in railroad retirement, you're worrying about the substantial services clause, right? Being still connected to the railroad and having that cut your annuity. All right, so railroaders, I hope you found this helpful. I've been getting a lot of questions about this. A lot of, in retirement, people still like to do a few other things, and they don't know what the deductions are going to be happening on their railroad retirement. So if that's something that you want to talk about, feel free to reach out to me. All right, click on the notification bell. Like the video, I do appreciate that. Until next time, everyone, please stay safe, stay on track, and take care. So long, everybody. Bye.